I wanted him on the team before he went to the Ravens in 2010 as a free agent, before he went to the 49ers in 2013 as a free agent. This is a guy, he's been a Walter Payton Man of the Year award winner. He's got the Q81 Foundation that gives scholarships and does all kinds of stuff for the communities and the cities he plays for. And I'm glad to see him, come back and reunite with Coach Caldwell with his time in the Ravens there. He's a great leader. When you think of Anquan Boldin, you think tough, dependable, respect, a pro, a leader, right? You think first downs. You think his catches matter. They're not just these rinky-dink, okay, I got 3 yards on first down. His catches are for touchdowns. His catches are for first downs. His catches are for those tough yards that you need to get. He rushes the ball. He throws the ball. He came out of Florida State at a time when Florida State had a great program. He entered Florida State as a quarterback, and they switched him over to wide receiver so they could get him playing time. He was too athletic and too good not to have on the field. That's how he became a receiver. And sure, he's going to get knocked. People are going to say, well, he's not that fast. But he gets open, right? He's open. He gets open. He knows how to position his body, box out, move around. He's smart. He's a good person. You don't ever hear nothing negative from anybody about Anquan Boldin. He's won a Super Bowl with Baltimore, so he brings that experience in leadership. He's going to be able to step in on this receiving core, I think. He's not going to be a 1 or a 2. He probably won't be the 3rd receiver, but he could be the 4th or 5th receiver. And these other guys are going to have to play some special teams. Now, we might carry 6 receivers if we keep Anquan Boldin this year. I would like to see him make the team. I really would. I like him in a Lions uniform. Like I said, there was years in the past that I would rather him have been coming to our team as a free agent than the other teams he signed with. Drafted in 2003 by Arizona, 54th pick overall. I bet everybody in the NFL would like to redo their draft from that season to have a player like this after 13 or 14 years with what he's done in the league. In hindsight, he wouldn't have been the 54th pick out of that draft. First game, if you guys remember this, was against us, was against the Detroit Lions, and he set records in that game. First game as a rookie, 217 yards receiving. Tore us up in a time where we just couldn't beat the Arizona Cardinals, no matter if they were decent, bad, or good. They had our number. He tore us up in that game. I remember watching that game. He won the Super Bowl there in Baltimore after he signed there in 2010 as a free agent. They went on to beat San Francisco in the Super Bowl the year they played them. Spent some time with the 49ers from 2013 up until this year. And, everybody knows what's going on with the 49ers. By the time he got there, they were started to be in disarray. They started to fall apart, right? So you didn't get a lot or the best out of him there, even though he still led the team last year in catches and yards. Weren't great numbers. I mean, he had Kaepernick for a couple games and then Blaine Gabbert as his quarterback, so he's not going to throw up monster numbers. He won't throw up monster numbers for Detroit this year if he makes the team. But his catches will matter. They'll get us what we need. They'll be important catches. The thing that Broncos fans are most mad about with Demaryius Thomas is that he seemed to drop a lot of balls last year. He put up great numbers. The perception comes from those crunch time catches, those big catches, the touchdowns that could have been. And those are the catches Anquan Boldin makes, no matter what. I mean, look at some of the records or numbers in his career. He's over 1,000 catches in his career. He's over 13,000 yards in his career. 74 touchdowns. 648 first downs. That's what I'm talking about. His catches matter. They get you what you need. First downs. Touchdowns. Most catches in a rookie season at 101 catches as a rookie. He was the fastest player in NFL to 200, 300, 400, 500, and 600 catches. This guy can play ball, and he's a leader, and he's a good person, and it reflects in his foundation, in the work he does, in the awards he's won, and in the players and people around him and what they have to say about him. So I'm glad for my Lions. Thank you for letting me take this segment and just rep my team a little bit, talk about what we're doing. I told you guys from time to time I'm going to have to just break down and talk about it. But I'm going to keep it real. Anquan Boldin, he's 36. He's a possession guy. He's a leader. He's great for the locker room. But he still's got to make the team. It's not guaranteed, but I'm excited for the leadership, and I'm excited for what could be as far as being able to push the chains in this offense and having multiple interchangeable pieces so that we don't have to rely on not having Calvin and as an excuse. We can start, interchanging some of these things. And, some of these receivers we brought in, like Andre Roberts or Curley, they're return men too. So they could be on the roster as a return guy and be used as a receiver. So, we'll have to see how it works out with all the different pieces moving around here. But I'm excited. I hope other Lions fans are excited too. All right, let's just get to some other news, some other things that are out there, stories that are going on. And then we'll wrap up the show a little bit. And let's see, what's going on? What do we got? Nick Foles. Nick Foles has been released. The Rams couldn't come up with a trade for Nick Foles, so he is now available. I wouldn't expect Nick Foles to be out there too long. Beginning in camp, I think some team will probably scoop him up pretty quick and bring him in as a backup. Remember, it was just a couple years ago he set the NFL on fire, and he owns the record with Peyton Manning of 7 touchdowns in a game. So, for whatever reason, confidence, systems, cockiness, he fell off for a while. But there's going to be a team, because of what he's done, that will bring him into camp and give him a shot. Devin Hester, he's been released. He's getting a little older. They're taking away, he had, not his best numbers of his career last season, punt returning or kick returning. But he's the all-time leader in touchdown returns. Big conversation this week is he a Hall of Famer? Because he's a return guy. You don't have a lot of returners, or any returners really, like a pure return guy that's in the Hall of Fame. Now, there's guys that have returned kicks that are in the Hall of Fame. Charles Woodson's going to be in the Hall of Fame, and he's returned kicks. Tim Brown's in the Hall of Fame. He was a kick returner. So there's guys, but not a pure kick returner. Devin Hester's not known for being a receiver or anything else. He's known as being a return man. But with that being said, there has been no greater return man. Not Deion Sanders, not anybody else, not Rod Woodson, nobody else. Not Mel Gray, played for the Lions. Nobody that was as good as Devin Hester. Now, again, this is a guy, he's getting up there in years. He's in his early to mid-30s now. I think he's 32. He's lost just a step. He had the Liz Frank injury he battled through. His contract was more of a receiver-type money than what you would pay just a pure returner because of what he was doing. Is he a Hall of Famer? In my opinion, let's get back to it. Yes, he is. He's a Hall of Famer. He has 18 return touchdowns. Again, this is a guy, somebody's going to bring him into camp and see what he has left. He's going to try and get himself on a contender or somebody, the best deal he can get, if not a contender. And then he'll be in camp somewhere. Eventually, I believe, based on his explosiveness and how he changed the game for a number of years, for at least a 5-year period. He changed the way they kicked. He changed the way special teams ran and was still able to put up numbers. I think he makes it in. I really do. I can remember in the Super Bowl several years ago, when the Bears were playing, who was it? Indianapolis. I said, watch, he's going to return the kick. He's going to return the kick. Game starts, they kick off, he returns the kick for a touchdown. He was that explosive on that stage in the Super Bowl. It didn't get to him. It takes ice water in your veins to be a return man. And he has pure ice in his veins. He is cool as the other side is the pillow. Thank you, Stuart Scott. That is the greatest quote of all time. Cool as the other side is the other side of the pillow. Sorry, I got tongue tied there, man. That was harder to say than I thought. So Hester, he'll be signed somewhere, I'm sure. Another guy who got signed this week, Jake Long. He says he's the healthiest he's been in seasons. Ravens picked him up. He'll fill in for Eugene Monroe's absence as he retired. Brett Favre is going to have his wife, Deanna Favre, induct him into the Hall of Fame, so that'll be good. She may get emotional. Excuse me. She's a fun one to watch in the times that she has spoken or I've heard her speak. Speak. Paul Pierce has announced he will be back for his 19th season with the Clippers. The truth. I will forever remember him as a Boston Celtic. I was hoping that his time in Brooklyn would have been more productive so that Nets team in Brooklyn really could have brought something to Brooklyn and New York, make that basketball mecca viable again. But it was a little later in his career, and he just wasn't the frontline player that he had used to be. And now he's out here with Doc again, Doc Rivers in L.A. And, the Clippers, we're hearing different trade rumors. They could make another run at a championship this year. And don't get me wrong, Paul Pierce is not just a serviceable player. He's still a good quality guy to have on the team. So good for him extending his career. Another player still playing from the 90s. Not very many left. And we'll have to see what his running mate there in Boston and Brooklyn, Kevin Garnett's going to do, because he still hasn't made his decision yet on retirement, and he's still playing from the 90s. So Andrew Luck says he is 100%, and he is setting his sights on the Super Bowl. So let's see if Andrew Luck can bounce back and what the Colts are going to have. There's still not a lot on that team. They're starting to get some pieces, but they were so bad there after Manning left. They got lucky and hit fire on offense for a couple seasons. But then the offensive line is basically falling apart. They haven't really established a running game. Frank Gore did everything he could last season, and he's at the tail end of his career. And the defense, let's face it, what do they have on defense? Vontae Davis, that's pretty much it. They're a team that has spurts of good defense, and then they can play like they're a high school team in the NFL every now and then. So we'll see. It's good to have top players feeling confident and being healthy. Oh, so Josh Gordon, he has been reinstated. He will be suspended the first 4 games of the season. He's not going to be available until early October. But he's reunited with his Baylor guy, RG3. These two, they're connected. They know each other. Maybe RG3 can correct Gordon. Gordon can be that guy that RG3 can trust. He's a deep threat. He's a jump ball threat. He can save you in a lot of situations. If I'm RG3, I'm reaching out to my guy. I'm saying, hey, come live with me. Stay at my house. Let's get connected. Let's reunite. Let's get you ready for October. And let's get this thing going. Because they were fire down there at Baylor. I mean, it was good stuff. Gordon wasn't drafted as high as RG3, but that's because of issues with marijuana and stuff like that coming out of college. But they were fired down there. I mean, that's the system they continue to run at Baylor. That's the Jay Lee that I talked about earlier on Detroit's receiving core. So let's hope these two guys can reenact their careers and get things going. That's the show today. I want to thank the real deal sports fans out there who listen to the show. I want to thank the dirtcannon.com for being the official fantasy partner of the show. I want to thank Speaker Radio for allowing me to have my station. And all you guys, have a great week. And until next time, just do what you got to do. Enjoy life and be real.